evening, everybody. Welcome to the Voorhees Township Committee meeting of February 13th, 2023. Please rise and join me in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Pepperly present. Mr. Platt?
Here.
Mr. Rabbit? Here. Ms. Nacito? Here. Mayor Vignota?
Here.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. Do note that this meeting has been published by the clerk and both the Courier Post and Inquirer newspapers, as well as electronic notice as required by law. Also, a copy of the annual meeting notice has been posted on the bulletin board outside the Township Clerk's office.
Thank you. Our first matter this evening is the second reading of an ordinance approving the installation of a stop sign at the intersection of Chestnut Avenue and South 2nd Avenue. Since this is the second reading, I will open it to the public. If anyone from the public has a comment on this ordinance, please come forward.
Seeing no one, move to close public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public portion for that ordinance is closed. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Pepperly? Yes. Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Rabbits?
Yes. So carried. Our next matter is the second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 32.035 through 32.044 of the Voorhees Township Code entitled Other Departments, Boards, Commissions, and Committees, the Environmental Commission. This is the second reading again. I will open it to the public for any comment.
Seeing no one from the public, move to close public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion of that ordinance is closed. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Pepperly? Yes. Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Rabbits?
Yes.
Ms. Nacito? Yes. Mayor Vignota?
Yes. So carried. Our next matter is the second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 32.115 of the Voorhees Township Code entitled Other Departments, Boards, Commissions, and Committees, Recreation Advisory Board. This is the second reading, so I'll open it to the public for any comment on this ordinance.
Seeing no one, move to close public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion for that ordinance is closed. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Pepperly? Yes. Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Rabbits?
Yes.
Ms. Nacito? Yes. Mayor Vignota?
Yes. So carried. Our next matter is the second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 32.015 through 32.020 of the Voorhees Township Code entitled Other Departments, Boards, Commissions, and Committees, the Business Development Committee. This is another second reading. I will open it to the public. If anyone has a comment, please come forward.
Seeing no one, move to close public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion for that ordinance is closed. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Pepperly? Yes. Mr. Platt?
Yes.
Mr. Rabbits?
Yes.
Ms. Nacito? Yes. Mayor Vignota?
Yes, so carried. Our next matter is the first reading of an ordinance amending the schedule of fees for 2023. Is there a motion on this first reading?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Our next section is the public portion for resolutions only. If anyone from the public has any comments on any of our resolutions this evening, please come forward.
Seeing no one, move to close public
Second.
portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion for resolutions is closed. Our resolutions this evening are resolution number 68-23, memorializing an executive session from the meeting of January 23, 2023. Resolution number 69-23, amending records of the tax collector. Number 70-23, amending records of the tax assessor. Number 71-23, approving purchases through state contract from Elite Vehicle Solutions for law enforcement firearms equipment and supplies. Resolution number 72-23, authorizing Voorhees Township to accept a grant from the State of New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General, in the amount of $48,600 under the FY 2023 Safe and Secure Communities Program Subaward Grant number 23-0434, and authorizing Mayor Michael Mignona and Police Chief Louis Bordy to execute and the Township Clerk to attest to a sub-award grant and any and all documents in connection with this grant. Resolution number 73-23, authorizing application for program year 2023 Community Development Block Grant for the Township of Voorhees, County of Camden, State of New Jersey. Resolution number 74-23, approving an amendment to the transportation billing agreement between Voorhees Township and Virtua Health, Inc. Number 75-23, accepting a performance guarantee for Schaefer Land LLC, Block 213.04, lots 121, 122, and 124. Resolution number 76-23, accepting a maintenance guarantee for the 2021 road improvement program from Paving Plus LLC. Resolution number 77-23, authorizing the tax assessor to file, stipulate, settle both regular and added omitted tax appeals and roll back tax complaints for the Township of Voorhees. Resolution number 78-23, approving the hiring of Daniel Grace as a police officer in the Voorhees Township Police Department. Resolution number 79-23, approving the hiring of Emil Esteban as a police officer in the Voorhees Township Police Department. And resolution number 80-23, accepting the resignation of Mark Peranto from the Voorhees Township Police Department. Do I have a motion on those resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. There is no need for an executive session?
I believe there is.
Oh, there is. Okay, I'll make a motion to go into executive session after the public portion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Our next section is approval of our minutes from January 17, 2023, our court administrator's report for January, our tax collector's report for January, our treasurer's report for January, and our bill list for January 23, 2023. Is there a motion for approval of those?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain Mignona on the minutes of the January 17th meeting. Our next section is comments from our committee. Any comments from our committee this evening? Our final portion is our public portion. If anyone from the public has any comments, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here to complain about the Eagles game. Just a spot.
I think you have
Oh, you gotta get in line.
you have unanimous support for that. We just need your name and address, please.
Brad Blumberg, 9 Signal Hill Drive.
Hi, Mr. Blumberg.
Hello, how you doing? So, I wanted to talk about, I just need 5 minutes. Sure. Wanted to talk about Route 73, just how we're planning and looking at it. I printed out, easy, some pictures.
You want me to just pass them down? You can drop them on.
Thank you.
I did the color ones for the council people.
We like color.
Thank you.
So, these are numbered, I'll just call out the pages, I can get through in 5 minutes, but just a little background. Said my name's Brad Blumberg. I do have a little expertise in this area of planning. I have a master's in city planning. I started in real estate and economic development. I now run technology companies. I do a little real estate. I do own a little piece of land on Route 73. I've lived in Voorhees for about 23 years, put an addition on my house. And it was at that addition meeting where I kind of started seeing some of the things that were coming on Route 73 and just kind of, because I was there, heard a couple of things. And I've never attended a meeting in my 23 years here, so first time callers, they say. But one of the things that just as far as planning on 73, I saw this billboard across from my house. And you know, as I looked into it, it made me start thinking more about Route 73. And if you look at page 2, since I lived here, that 2-mile stretch of Route 73 has dramatically changed. There was nothing there but a Gennardi's. Now we have a lot of development. and more development coming in the next 10 to 20 years. And a lot of what I'm hearing, like when I sit in a zoning and planning board meeting, it's just the opposite of a lot of the things I know about good planning. So I want to just use a couple slides as this billboard as a case study, but if you look at slide 3, we allow these billboards according to the zoning and the new update, the master plan update that just got approved. It's on the west side for a mile. And that area, as you know, it's all open. There's pine lands to the east. It's easy, we got lots of billboards there. But I sat through when I was getting my house approved that we're trying to get in the record books for the largest variance ever set in New Jersey. We're doing almost a mile variance to put a new billboard in a residential zone along Route 73, which is obviously commercial though. But that just struck me. And here in the comments, I know you guys don't get involved in the zoning board, so I'm not asking for anything like that. But it just struck me, the comments I'm hearing, and I also want to say, I've been supporters of all of you. This is not any axe to grind. You guys have had signs in my yard, so this is just bugging me. So, we already have 10 billboards, up on the north side. And I think that's where we need, and it's bad development. So I have a new business, develop software companies. I wouldn't really want to put my new hot business under a billboard. I think letting these billboards continue to proliferate, especially outside the zone where they're allowed, you get crappy development underneath. I'm not really sure why, we're on 8 meetings for new billboards. So when I looked into this, I called the police department, and that stretch, now that we have all this new development in traffic lots, there's an accident every 3 days on that stretch of 73. If you look on page 4, we've had 2 fatalities. I know someone, a friend of mine's wife, that got T-boned there, brain damage, disaster for that family. That road with the lights and people going through, we want good development, big development. We all want tax rateables. But I think, this billboard stuff is, with the cross streets and how busy it's getting, it's a problem. And I just wanted to come and ask your advice. I don't know if the zoning and planning board needs charrettes with the public, or, we need to think about Route 73. But these billboards are no longer appropriate for Route 73. Some of you guys, I know you live in the neighborhood, that school, you have a school right there. So billboards, if you look at page, well, I'll get to that, I guess, but if you look at one of the, I think mine's missing one. If you look at page 5 and 6, the billboards, they're made to be a distraction, right? They're made to get you to look at it. They're not there not to get you to look at it. So you're dropping off kids at school, there's buses, you're looking up. These new digital billboards, every 8 seconds they're changing. It's a distraction, and the science of that is not settled that we should just be approving them. And if you look at page 8 on the left is we're on the 8th zoning board meeting for this particular billboard. It seems like it's on its way to approval. We're approving something, no berms, no one wants it, that lives anywhere around there. The trade-off, as I've talked to some of you, was, well, you get a new fence and we're going to clean it up. But no one wants, that's a bad trade. A fence for 2 uses, which is against the zoning code, and a billboard. I mean, if you want the trifecta, we should put a strip club there, because that's usually what I see on 295, a junkyard, a billboard, and a strip club. But if you look at 8, what we want to do is on the left. We want nice development. And if you look at page 9, this is what we're getting on that strip at 73. Look at the left on page 9. We're getting, crappy thing in front of the junkyard. We're getting more and more digital billboards. What we want is on the left. We want nice big office buildings like Evesham has. We want things like the Promenade. We want things that produce a lot of rateables. And what we're getting is this ambient light on page 10. I've listened to the local engineers, traffic engineers say, well, these billboards just zoom it right on the road. Well, it's like the Emperor's New Clothes. Go drive behind some of these billboards. They're glowing. You can see them, you know, a half mile behind the billboard. It's just absolutely not true. And, you know, our master plan talks about being environmental friendly. If you look at page 11, these digital billboards, they're environmental nightmares. They screw up the night sky. You can't see the stars. They confuse wildlife. Entire states ban these things. Camden's banning them, but we probably have more billboards in Voorhees than anywhere but on 95 in Atlantic City. We're probably number 3. I don't think that's something we want to be recognized for as far as good planning. And when I looked at it even more, I realized these billboards, they don't even pay any taxes. If you look at page 12, these billboards, $1,000, $1,800. There's one huge one near that Brandywine facility, $10,000 in taxes. That's ridiculous. That's what your houses are more than that. So it just, and that Brandywine Living, when I looked at what they pay in taxes, something like that pays $600,000 in taxes. I mean, that's what we should be shooting for, these nice big planned developments, and we're screwing up that future for these billboards. And I think that just kind of planning is how we have to look. We want a really big, nice development. So what's really concerning to me, and I think this is just perception, and it's really why I'm here, there is a perception that this town wants these billboards. So I don't want to piss anybody off. Like you, I've coached kids that are on the zoning board, know people. We've talked at least 3 people on the zoning board. They say they feel political pressure to pass this. So
I was going to tell you, I don't want the.
I was going to say unequivocally, I don't want a digital billboard.
Well, that's the one thing, Brad, you said that made a lot of sense. You're saying we don't want this one development. That's why we have a master plan, to encourage the kind of development you want. To put a billboard outside of the master plan, I don't agree with. I don't. So I don't know where this political pressure they're saying is coming from.
So I'm going to tell you, I think it's perception. Because when I talk one-on-one, it just becomes, well, it cleans it up. You know, we get a nice fence in front of the billboard. But, you know, I know the owner of the billboard company, billionaire, used to live in Jerry Hill, probably friends with people, probably made a call, you know, donates to charity, but that's great. He lives in Tribeca now. I really don't want this stuff in my neighborhood when he gets to move out. So I don't know what we can do. I know you can't get involved, but I just think some kind of explaining to these boards. I know it doesn't happen as much on the planning board, because I went to the planning board for the update, because I was concerned they were trying to sneak in, like, changing it to a billboard, and the planning board and engineers said exactly what you just said. No way, it's not in the, but yet this thing is on its 8th reading. In a pre-meeting, you would have thought the engineer and everyone would have said, this is a no-go. It shouldn't even have got to 8 meetings over 3 years. Like, someone is pushing this.
Unfortunately, a use variance has the right to make application, which we all know.
Right.
I wouldn't think anyone on this board is pushing this.
And it is for a digital, it's not for a standard vinyl billboard? It's for a digital billboard, the current application?
It's for a digital. So everyone, I just heard crazy things. I've heard people say that, you know, we hire, you know, we can go from static to digital. It's just like a right. It's not a right. Do some horse trading. Say you want a digital billboard in the zone, get rid of 3 crappy other billboards, and you can put one that changes every 8 seconds, and you make 8 times as much money. Like, we need. So that's my last slide. I don't know if another clarifying resolution or something that just says this is not. We want good planning. I don't know what you can do. But
I haven't, of course, been to the zoning board meetings to see what they're basing their use variance on. Because of course you have to be, you know, it can't be financial, it can't be any of those, you know, outside issues. It has to be, you know, if they're caught in a bad spot and they can't do anything else, you know, they have to really prove a point for the zoning board.
We know the site, it's a nice site.
I know the site, yeah, and that's from across from the drugstore.
You're putting 2 uses, you're not allowed to do that, so now you're gonna have a junkyard and a billboard, that's a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you're not even in the zone to keep them. So, I just see that, and then I think it wrecks our whole 73 plan. I just saw another static, go to digital like that, because the zoning board was just, yeah, sure, it's like by right. It's just, when you drive in now, we look like 95. It's just,
Is that at the corner of, like across from the Rite Aid? Is that what the proposed site?
The Chi-Chi's.
The Chi-Chi's.
right, sure, here's a
The
nice
auto
guy,
lot,
we like the
the
Chi-Chi.
auto lot, the Chi-Chi.
On the other side, south.
The
The auto
X
lot.
was on this side across from the Rite Aid, correct?
Across from Signal Hill, so if you're on Signal Hill Drive and you go left.
That's where the X on this was, but it's Chi-Chi's what they're talking about.
Yeah, you make a left out of Signal Hill, heading south,
And it's
Yeah.
on the right-hand side in front of the.
on the right-hand side.
So between there and like the pizza place. between
Right.
Dominic's.
Yeah, and before you get to Dominic's, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
correct.
agree. That's
Yeah, I'm
good.
gonna see the glow from my, new house in addition. It's gonna be great.
Well, I agree. I mean, it's a terrible, I mean, there's
Yeah.
already enough
So,
problems.
look, I don't wanna take any more time, but I
Thank
just think
you
it's
for
a
letting us
bad
know.
precedent.
But I think if anybody really, and if you go to the zoning board, you might go up and say this, if you really want to see what the governing body is looking to do with this land, look at the plan, look at the master
Master
plan.
plan.
I think
Because the master plan is the key for what we're
we've
looking
said
for.
that, but this is, hey, I do development. This
Yeah.
is, I'm not gonna say it's a railroad, but it's close to, it keeps getting pushed and put on and pushed. You have people stepping off because they're not, it's just, there's some, it's just something.
Well,
I'm gonna say it's perception.
no, I understand, and I appreciate you coming to this committee and discussing this, and it's pretty, unequivocal that, this committee wants to make sure that Voorhees is represented in the best possible way, that these, billboards, when it comes to zoning board or planning board, and obviously those governing bodies will oversee that, but unequivocally, this board, there's no political intimidation from this council, or this committee rather, in terms of passing a billboard of any kind. So I understand that sometimes can be, at times, it seems like it's a little bit more forced. Some zoning laws being.
I'm gonna say yes,
they're frustrated, but.
I've asked, like, let's say I coach your kids and I say, Steven,
Mhm.
what the heck's going on? And you're gonna say, some pressure. Who is it? And they'll name a name. So you can talk to your own zoning board.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
I'm not naming names.
I'd
but-
love to know the name, because I'm really confused about the pressure for a digital billboard.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's true, so I'm not, look,
Yeah.
hearsay, telephone tag, I don't really
Yeah.
care. It's just bad planning.
I'm
That's
dying to
my
hear,
only
I'm dying to hear a name now.
Well,
Okay, we'll look into it, and
Thank you.
yeah, we will look into it. Thank you. Nice meeting you, Mr.
Any
Bloomberg.
other comments from our public? Evening, Ed, how are you?
Hi.
Edward Ferrugia, 4 Harwood Drive.
Hi.
Do I just proceed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I did not come to talk to you about the billboard. Although,
If you want.
although I do believe that this issue of political pressure on the zoning board is a serious one, and I agree with everything that Mr. Blumberg said. However, I actually wanted to come to talk about planning, but not having anything to do with any pending application. I know I did recently send the mayor an email, but I'm on the board of trustees of the Sturbridge Lakes Homeowners Association, and this year I'm heading up our land preservation and development effort. And so what I'd really like to see us do now is put something together that doesn't just deal with each development as it comes up, but deals with the big picture in advance, so that we have communication and try to do some positive things. And one, so I don't know the best way to proceed. I had in mind a meeting with the mayor or whoever or whatever committee or persons would be good to just have a dialogue with. I'm sure we have a list of some properties that interest us and protections we'd like, but I'd like to mention one that doesn't involve Voorhees exactly, which is that all of the pine lands behind us in Evesham Township, there's quite a bit of private, I think it's all privately owned there at the moment, going back to the Black Run Preserve. And I have some understanding that Evesham has targeted some of this land, or maybe all of this area, for preservation, but I don't know the status of that. I understand they showed a map somewhere and they had a big circle and they said they were targeting it for preservation, which is good. But the private landowners also have the tracts up for sale right now, and they're marking it off and stuff. So our homeowners are asking what's going on there. And so ideally, I'd love to see that land preserved, whether it's by the county, the state, however that's done. But we've cooperated in the past with other streets. You know, we have some dead-end streets that go right up to that, or they're very short. So in the past, I know, at least with one street in a situation like that, the township actually gave the homeowners at the end of the street, and forgive me, names don't, I dropped names, I forget which street it was, but we worked it out where the township actually gave the homeowners the end of the street so that in the future, nobody would ever, on the other side, would ever be able to open, you know, bring if you call that a ghost street or whatever you call it, a street through. And now we have, I think, a number of streets like that back into these pinelands. So if there's to be development, we'd want to make sure that what could be hundreds of houses back there don't have an access through Voorhees to drive through. But really, we'd like to preserve it. And then there are lots in our vicinity, which maybe I'd like to see the township have some role in preserving. I know one of them is the lot in front of the school, which almost got developed, but didn't. And I think there was some discussion of maybe, you know, preserving that land, maybe something more attractive for the kids and for the school setting there. So this is all meant to be a positive thing. Some of it doesn't involve money. Maybe it just involves some help, and maybe some of it could involve some money down the road to preserve something. So I just want to reach out to you. I don't know if you want to answer me tonight, but somehow a committee, an official, or somebody that would meet with us and discuss these issues. That's really all I
I
have.
can grab your contact information right after our committee meeting.
Sure.
And we'll be able to meet and discuss and talk about our options.
Yeah, that'd be terrific.
Have you spoken to Evesham about what the status, have you spoken to Evesham about the status of their land on their property?
You know, the last time we tried to do that about some issues back there, I don't think they were interested in meeting with us now. That may be different now. I'm kind of just getting this effort started. And I want to try to not react to everything and us to like work together. And so I don't know. Maybe we're all on the same page, but then again, those landowners put the land, now maybe they're trying to get us a price so they can sell it to the township or the county over there. I don't know. It's another thing we need to find out.
From
Yeah,
Evesham what's
absolutely.
going on? Yeah.
The mayor and the committee have good relationship with the elected officials in Evesham and their
Right.
administrators, so we can definitely take care of that.
We can certainly get
Find out what's
more
happening,
information,
yeah.
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 And, you know, that would be great. And if you go back there, which we have been permitted to do at times, and, you know, it's a beautiful natural area. There is actually a lot of wildlife back there. I mean, it's a nice, and some water area. It's really a nice thing to preserve if it can be done.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll
Yeah, right after
speak with
this
you.
meeting.
And thank you very much for your
Thanks,
time.
Ed.
Thank you.
I do not see anybody else from the public that might be interested in commenting, so is there a motion to close public portion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion is closed, and we are moving into an executive session. Good evening.